Hello and welcome to Firstpost Spotlight, where we bring you stories that matter to you from all across the world. From breaking news to the day's biggest controversies, we shed light on issues that shape our world. I'm Alison Lagrange, live from Durban, South Africa. Let's begin with the top headlines. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi turns 75 today. World leaders, including the US President Trump, Russian President Putin, Israel's Prime Minister Netanyahu and Italian Prime Minister Meloni send wishes, hailing his leadership and India's rising global role under him. The Israeli military says that they struck over 150 terror targets in the last 48 hours in Gaza City, including strikes on a Hamas production facility, as IDF operations enter a crucial stage. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi to hold a call with his counterparts from Britain, France and Germany as Tehran seeks to avoid the reimposition of international sanctions over its nuclear program. Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s cousin steps down as Speaker of the House of Representatives following allegations of widespread corruption in infrastructure projects. And Indonesia's central bank cuts its key interest rate to 4.75%, giving the struggling rupiah a lift despite being Asia's worst performing currency last month. Hello and welcome. Now today we start with the latest from Canada, where a pro-Khalistani outfit has threatened to siege the Indian consulate in Vancouver. US-based Pro-Khalistani group Seeks for Justice, or the SFJ, threatened to take over the Indian consulate on the 18th of September and asked Indo-Canadians to reschedule their visits to the consulate. The group also released a poster showing the Indian High Commissioner, Dinesh Patnaik, with a target on his face. The Pro-Khalistan organization made bizarre claims alleging that the Indian consulates are running a spy network in Canada for surveillance and targeting of Khalistan supporters. It further said that the threat to lay siege on the consulate was to seek accountability for the alleged espionage. Now, the group, the SFJ, that is making these frivolous espionage claims and dangerous threats is headed by Gurpawant Singh Panun. Now, this man has been designated as a terrorist by India since 2020. He has over 100 cases against him in India and has been accused of carrying out subversive activities, including threats to India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Home Minister Amit Shah, and the National Security Advisor Ajit Doval. He is also accused of raising funds for commission of terrorist acts against India, with the ultimate objective of creating Khalistani out of Indian state of Punjab via a separatist movement. Now, the SFJ threatened a siege on the 18th of September, saying that the day marks 2 years of the former Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's remarks in Parliament, where he alleged India's role in the assassination of a Sikh man named Hardeep Singh Nijjar, another Khalistani leader who has been designated as a terrorist by India. Nijjar was shot dead outside a Sikh temple in Canada's Surrey in June of 2023.
For the past number of weeks, Canadian security agencies have been actively pursuing credible allegations of a potential link between agents of the government of India and the killing of a Canadian citizen, Hardeep Singh Nijjar.
India outrightly rejected the allegations made by Trudeau and called them absurd and motivated. New Delhi even offered to cooperate with Ottawa and sought evidence from Canada to back its claims. However, Canada has failed to present evidence before New Delhi to prove its assassination allegations. India also accused the Trudeau government of allowing extremist and anti-India activities to grow on its soil. India also pointed out national security risks posed by individuals and entities that seek electoral gains by fanning anti-India separatism and extremism in Canada. Now, this face-off triggered a period of strained ties between the two long-term partners. In a tit-for-tat move, India and Canada also expelled each other's ambassadors, and India withdrew its High Commissioner to Canada.
On the issue of Canada, insofar as Canada is concerned, we have said that they have consistently given space to anti-India extremists and violence, and that is actually the heart of the issue. Our diplomatic representatives in Canada have borne the brunt of this.
But the incumbent government, led by Mark Carney, has rejected Trudeau's approach and has reset ties with India. In June this year, India's Prime Minister Modi visited Canada for the G7 summit, where the two leaders reaffirmed the importance of India-Canada ties. Diplomatic ties have also been re-established, with both nations naming their new High Commissioners. The Carney government has also acknowledged the presence of the extremist Khalistani groups on Canadian soil. An internal report released earlier this month by the Canadian government suggested Khalistani groups received financial support from Canada-based individuals and networks. While the two partners repair and rebuild partnership, will the Mark Carney government go all out against pro-Khalistan and anti-India extremist elements? Any action in this direction is certain to not just fully restore India-Canada ties, but to open up an all-new chapter of friendship and cooperation. And let's shift our focus to the joint military drills carried out by Russia and its security partner Belarus. The exercise, called Zapad 2025, saw the participation of more Russian allies, including India. The Indian Defence Ministry confirmed 65 Indian Armed Forces personnel took part in the drills. New Delhi said that it focused on improving military cooperation and interoperability, and sharing of tactics for conventional warfare and counter-terrorism. The joint drills highlighted soaring defense ties between India and Russia. Now, other Russian allies that participated in the drills include Bangladesh, Iran, Burkina Faso, Congo, and Mali. Meanwhile, in a surprise visit yesterday, Russian President Vladimir Putin flew to the country's Nizhny Novgorod region to observe the joint drills. Dressed in military attire, Putin attended briefings from the Russian defense minister. Putin said that 100,000 troops were part of the drills that came amid Russia's raging war with Ukraine.
The aim of these drills is to rehearse all the necessary elements regarding the defense of sovereignty, territorial integrity, and protection of the Union State of Russia and Belarus from any kind of aggression.
The Zapad 2025 drills are a fraction of the scale of Zapad 2021. The previous series of drills, conducted months before Ukraine's invasion, involved up to 200,000 soldiers. The military exercise focuses on the Western theatre and has managed to fetch representatives from 23 states, including the US. Now, this marked the first known visit by American representatives to a Russian military drill in years. This, as Putin's war games close to the eastern flank of NATO members, have put them on high alert. However, the Russian president has defended the drills as a bid to repel potential aggression against the Union state, comprising of Russia and Belarus.
The drills are taking place at 41 training sites and involve 100,000 servicemen and around 10,000 weaponry and equipment systems.
Meanwhile, European nations are also scaling up their defences. Poland has responded to the drills by deploying up to 40,000 soldiers to its border with Belarus. Warsaw also shut its border with Minsk, and the move also followed a Russian drone incursion last week, an incident that Moscow said was not intentional. However, it pushed NATO to scramble its fighter jets. The incident marked the first direct engagement between a NATO member and Russian drones since the war began in February of 2022. In a separate incident, Romania also claimed a Russian drone breach in its airspace. Now, the European allies have sent additional jets for patrolling. The drone incursion also led Poland to invoke NATO's Article 4, which allows member countries to bring any issues of concern to the North Atlantic Council, which is the alliance's main political decision-making body. Now, the drills also came at a time when Russia and its trade partners are facing sweeping tariffs levied by the Trump administration. Washington has imposed a 50% tariff on the Indian imports last month. 25% of these duties were imposed for buying Russian oil. India and the US have now resumed trade talks, and Russia is a key defense ally for India. New Delhi has historically sourced most of its defense supplies from Moscow. However, in recent decades, it has sought to diversify imports and has pushed for self-reliance in defense capabilities. And moving on, South Korea's Unification Church and its controversial leader are back under the spotlight. Earlier today, Han Hak-ja, known to her followers as True Mother, faced prosecutors in Seoul. Now, she is accused of orchestrating bribes to the former First Lady Kim Keon-hee, the wife of ousted President Yoon Suk-yeol. Han is the wife of Unification Church founder Moon San-mayon, who built the movement into a global religious force before his death in 2012, preaching that he and his wife were the true parents chosen to complete Jesus' mission, a doctrine that sets it apart from mainstream Christianity. Now, her interrogation coincided with the arrest of Keon Seong-dong, who is a veteran conservative lawmaker and a close aide of Yoon. Prosecutors say that Han instructed members of the church to bribe both the ex-First Lady and Keon in return for political favors. Han's appearance came after that she skipped 3 earlier summons, citing health issues. She arrived with aides, ignored reporters' questions, and only said she had been unwell. An ambulance was kept on standby during her questioning. Han has denied all of the allegations. Now, following the interrogation, prosecutors said that Han did not invoke her right to remain silent. They confirmed she answered questions on possible violations of political funding as well as graft laws. The spotlight also remains on former First Lady Kim Keon, already under indictment for corruption. Prosecutors say that she accepted gifts worth around 80 million won, or about $58,000, including luxury handbags and a diamond necklace. In return, she allegedly used her influence to benefit the church's business interests. The ex-First Lady has denied the charges, but remains in detention. The scandal is playing out as former President Yoon himself stands trial. Yoon, ousted last year, is detained on charges of insurrection linked to his failed bid to declare martial law in December. Now, the overlapping cases have rocked South Korea's conservative ranks. The former president is on trial, the former First Lady is in prison, a senior lawmaker has been detained, and now the leader of a controversial religious movement is also facing state prosecutors. The Unification Church and their leader continue to insist on their innocence. But prosecutors say the investigation is expanding. The big question is how far this will go and whether or not it will rewrite the relationship between religion and politics in South Korea. And for our final story, let's shift our focus to Wang Ning. He is the 38-year-old mastermind behind China's toy empire Mart International. Now, the name behind the viral Labubu dolls. As per reports, his net worth has tumbled from $27.5 billion in late August to $21.6 billion. Now, that's nearly a $6 billion drop. He is now sitting at number 14 on China's rich list. So what's behind the billionaire's belly flop? Blame it on Labubu 4.0. Launched on the 28th of August, the latest collection of the rabbit-like snaggletooth critters, retailing for nearly $11, promised 28 mini versions in assorted pastel shades.
They're really small, you can hang them on your phone. You don't have to worry about losing them easily, because it's so tiny that you don't even need to add one of those anti-theft chains. And if you collect a bunch and clip them on, it feels really healing, like they can keep you company for a long time.
At first, the dolls flew off the shelves, but alas, the hype was short-lived. The dolls, with a resale value of more than its retail value, saw a drop of 24%. Previously, some dolls were resold for nearly 125 times their price. Now, investors are suddenly wondering if Labubu's magic spell is wearing thin. Even Labubu's older siblings aren't safe. The once coveted Labubu 3.0 Hidden Edition, which fetched over $560 in June, now can be bought for just $105. That's less a collector's item and more a clearance sales special. Mart, for its part, insists that this isn't just a collapse in demand, just good old-fashioned oversupply. A company spokesperson argued that production was deliberately ramped up to make Labubu more accessible. Ironically, all of this gloom comes on the backdrop of Mart's hottest streak yet. The stock of the company surged 200% this year, ballooning its market cap to nearly $61 billion and turning Wang Ning into one of China's youngest billionaire poster boys. Revenue tells a similar story. Mart pulled nearly $1.95 billion in the first half of 2025, while its net profit soared to approximately $644 million. Labubu's Monster series alone reportedly raked in $669 million in the first half of 2025. That's not too shabby for a snaggletooth bunny. For now, Wang Ning is still a billionaire many times over, but the Labubu saga is a reminder that in the fickle world of collectibles, one day you are the rich cousin, the next day you are explaining why your $6 billion fortune hopped away. And that's all we have on the show for today. We will see you again tomorrow at the same time. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned to Firstpost.
From breaking news to the day's biggest controversies, shedding light on the world's top headlines, detailed analysis on the stories that matter the most to you. Catch it all on Spotlight at 6 p.m. India time and 12:30